Spurs fans, I'm as surprised as you are that this was our best lineup last season.
Spurs go, 'cause the Giants stay.
What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. Hope you're having a great weekend. Man, it feels like forever since we've done a Spurs video, but I caught this article from Pounding the Rock this morning. I was like, you know what? I got to share this with our Spurs audience. So let's get into it. Bada bing, bada boom. Psh. All right. The San Antonio Spurs played 533 different lineup combinations on its road to a 22-60 record last season. 533? What? Anyway, obviously not all of them worked, yet the Spurs did find some competitive lineups. And this is what blew my mind. San Antonio had a plus 20.8 net and a 96.6 defensive rating when Victor Wembanyama was joined by Tre Jones, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Jeremy Sochan. What? That rates out as one of the best units in the NBA last season in terms of net rating. When the Spurs played its best five, there were signs of a competitive team. A little quick segue here. I don't remember how much that unit started together. I think very little Spurs fans. When Jones was becoming a starter, I think that's when Keldon was going to the bench. Also, Zach Collins was pulled from the starting lineup. Julian Champagnie became a starter. So I don't really remember seeing that lineup start. I do remember seeing them close out games. So anyway, Pounding the Rock has some lineups they think may work next season, so let's get into it. The starters, and this is the one I think most of them agree is probably going to happen. Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sochan, and Wemby. This lineup finally provides some floor spacing around Wemby. Thank goodness. Sochan and Wemby are the only players in the projected starting five that didn't shoot above 37% from deep last season. Sochan was for the first few months, but his three-point percentage tanked in the last two. So if he can be 37%, even 35%, be respectable, that'll help the floor spacing. Paul will be able to fill Jones' role as a pick-and-roll playmaker in the half court, allowing Sochan and Vassell to slot into off-ball roles. Okay, sounds good so far. Defensively, Paul is a downgrade from Jones. Is he? I know he's much older, but is he? I mean, he's a former 9-time All-Defensive team, granted none since 2017, but is he going to be a huge downgrade? I haven't followed much of Chris Paul's game the last few years. I know he's with the Warriors and he's bounced around, the Suns, etc. I don't know what he's doing on defense these days, but is he? I don't know. And Sacramento Kings fans have expressed frustration with Harrison Barnes playing that. And yes, he's going to offer us very little D. That being said, the best defensive anchor in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, Vassell and Sochan improvement units will be what swings this from a good to a great defense. I don't think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be similar to last year. Wemby's going to get even better, which is frightening. If Sochan and Vassell improve, and Paul can at least hold his own, and Barnes is the one defensive liability out there, then it should be better. Hopefully. Wemby and shooters. Pew! Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama. I don't see this being a starting lineup, but let's entertain the idea. Last season, teams frequently packed the paint. Yes, he did. Against the Spurs in an attempt to cut off Wemby's space around the hoop. My goodness, watching him get double-teamed and triple-teamed and see defenders constantly sag off Tre Jones and Jeremy Sochan was frustrating to say the least. And I can only imagine how Wemby felt when he was seeing that happen. The best thing about this lineup is they aren't losing playmaking when Sochan goes to the bench. Wemby, CP3, and you can be CP another number. Wemby, Chris Paul, and Vassell are all capable of initiating offense, with Barnes and Champagnie playing floor spacing roles. There is ample opportunity for advantage creation with this lineup offensively. If Sochan gets off to a slow start in his third season, they wouldn't be surprised if there were calls for Champagnie to re-enter the starting five to provide floor spacing. So what they're saying is this lineup could replace the starting lineup in case Jeremy Sochan struggles. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm rooting for Jeremy, 9th overall pick. You don't want to waste that pick just from a few years ago or have that pick become wasted. I believe he came off the bench in college, so would he accept a role if that need be? I don't know. I've already said I like Julian Champagnie. I don't like him as a starter, so hopefully that never becomes a starting lineup, but we could possibly see that rotation at some point. The buzzsaw. The what? Tre Jones, Stephon Castle, Julian Champagnie, Jeremy Sochan, and Wemby. Okay, nice picture. Stephon Castle was an awesome defender on and off the ball at UConn last season. UConn. He has a high motor, a great frame, and good defensive instincts. He brings a physicality and aggressiveness that this defense needs. Yes, it do. He and Jones at the point of attack would be a nightmare for opposing guards. Would they? Even if they get past them, they have the potential to. They have the next defensive player of the year awaiting them in the paint. The defensive potential of this lineup is enticing. There would be some floor space and kinks to work out, specifically Jones, Castle, Sohan. Jones' three-point shooting did get better last season, but having Castle and Sohan on the floor at the same time, if they're both struggling with three-point shot, then we could just see what we saw last year, Wemby constantly getting double team and triple team. So there is that, but it's also situational. If we need some stops and just need to shut teams down, could we see this lineup? Maybe. I don't know. Time will tell. Could we possibly insert Blake Wesley over Trey Jones for the buzzsaw? Man, he showed a big, huge jump in defense from year 1 to year 2. I would only hope that he gets better from year 2 to year 3. Just thinking, random stuff. The bench mob: Trey Jones, Stephon Castle, Julian Champagnie, Keldon Johnson, Zach Collins. I think that is going to be the primary 5 off the bench, depending on how they're playing. San Antonio has some good sneaky depth this year. Yes, we do, Spurs fans. They moved 2 starters to the bench in Champagnie and Jones. Move a starter to the bench. And a former starter in Keldon Johnson keeping a 6-man role, and adding a top 5 pick in Stephon Castle. If Collins has a bounce-back season, I think he will. I've been critical of Zach Collins on this channel. Quite frankly, pretty much everybody in this community has been critical of Zach Collins, and I get it. He signed that big contract 2 years for about $35 million, and then this season he certainly was not playing up to that contract. But he did shoot much better from 3 after the All-Star break. I believe he shot over 40%. He was taking less shots, but he was taking better shots. So if he can be much more productive on the offensive end, yeah, he might have a bounce-back season, and we might have some real weapons in the second unit. What they're most interesting about pounding the rock is Johnson's role this season, and we always want to know what the Johnson's up to. Last season, he relied a bit too much on his jumper instead of getting to the basket. I would agree. With another floor spacer like Champagnie joining the bench, maybe there'll be more reps for Johnson to come off screens or zoom action and get downhill. Getting back to his Mustang ways would help San Antonio's bench scoring. If we look at this lineup, if all 5 guys are on the floor, Zach Collins, still considered a stretch 5, especially if he keeps his 3-point percentage in that 38 to 40 range. Where now Champagnie's a decent shooter. I don't know if that hasn't get me trouble, so I'll move that a little bit. And Trey Jones did shoot much better from 3 last season, in the second half of the season. So, yeah, maybe. And then Stephon Castle gets the SGA treatment. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What do you mean by that? This starting lineup, and this again would be Sohan going to the bench, so we'll see. Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama. The first thing that stands out right there, Spurs fans, is that's a small lineup. Paul is 6'2", 6'3", and Castle's, 6'6", Vassell's around 6'6", Barnes, I think, is 6'8", and of course, Wemby's a giant out there. But overall, that would be a small lineup. One of CP to be determined, and if you don't know, the reason I'm not calling him CP3 is Keldon Johnson has said he's keeping number 3, so I don't know what he's CP0, CP3PO, whatever. Best late career seasons came in his one of CP3's best late career seasons came in his 1-year stint with OKC. Many credit his tutelage of SGA as a big reason that OKC guard has become a superstar. Could Paul manage a similar feat with the Spurs' new big guard in Castle? That would be awesome. We fully expect this first, and I think most of us expect that Chris Paul is going to tutor. It's not a tutor at all. He's going to mentor Stephon Castle for as long as he's there, whether he's there the whole season or gets traded right before the trade deadline. Whatever happens, I think he's going to be very beneficial to Stephon Castle to work with Chris Paul. So, yes, I'd like to see Paul and Castle on the court together. I don't see them starting. And then they're just getting weird here. Chris Paul, Keldon Johnson, Sidy Cissoko, Sandro Mamukelashvili, and Victor Wembanyama. So we got the long names there at the end, the big old names. Paul is one of the best passing guards of all time. Hard to argue. Sidy Cissoko and Sandro Mamukelashvili are young players who are good passers and can handle the ball on the open floor. Johnson and Wemby could operate as leaders on the offense. This group would lead the league in jaw-dropping dishes and fast break points. I don't think we'll ever see that lineup on the floor. If it does, okay. Quite frankly, I think Sidy Cissoko is going to get lost in the mix. He might get sent down to the G League to start the season. I mean, I'm rooting for him as I am all the Spurs, but his shot looks so broken in the Summer League. He needs some milk. So, Spurs fans, first of all, this video is sponsored by your thumbs up. So, hit the thumbs up if you haven't just done so. Appreciate it, especially if you made it this far, almost 10 minutes in. Let me know your thoughts. Were you surprised to find out when these 5 players were on the court, they were our best unit? And I'm sure you might be able to stat pick other units out of the Spurs that played better, but if they only play like 3 minutes together, I don't think that's a good enough sample size. I'm going to assume this article, Pounding the Rock, there was a substantial amount of playing time to put them ranked where they are. So let me know. Surprise on that. And all the lineups we went through, there's a one that, kind of sticks out that's not being mentioned as a lineup, but you're like, you know what? I agree with Pounding the Rock. I'd really like to see that buzzsaw lineup or the shooting lineup, or I want to see that weird lineup. Let me know. I always appreciate your comments. And subscribe to become our awesome Spurs community. We had a lot of fun here. And I want to close with this. If you made it this far, I am having a blast with Miss TSR doing these new reaction videos. I want to thank you guys that are watching them. I know it's different content from what is usual here. Some of you might not like reactions. Some might like the UFC, might not like the WWE, might not like all three. But I'm really enjoying reliving moments that, the Macho Man video we did a few days ago, I forgot a lot of that. So some of that was new to me too. And it's been a lot of fun, and I'm achieving a goal that was started in 2019. For those who've been here long enough, you guys would ask back in the day, TSR, are you seeing anybody? Or is there a Miss TSR? No, but it would be really great to meet somebody that I could share this with. And I've finally done that, guys and girls. That's a rarity. When I look at all the channels that I came up with in 2019, we came up with, I don't see any of those channels having their significant other on at all. Not even like a guest appearance. So this is a rarity, and I'm very thankful that I'm getting to share this with somebody, but also somebody that's becoming a Spurs fan. She has 2 Spurs jerseys, by the way, but I think she is a Spurs fan at this point. Not only that, but she's going to have somebody she's going to be legitimately rooting for in Stefan Castle, as she went to UConn, and Stefan Castle, of course, came from UConn, so she's got serious ties there. So what better time for her to join us on camera this season when the Spurs are about to turn a corner? It's the Wemby era. She joined the channel during the Wemby era. She missed it. She wasn't a Spurs fan during the Tim Duncan era. Obviously not David Robinson, blah, 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 like I was. But she's coming in at a great time. It's the start of the Wemby era, and now she's going to be joining us live on camera for the Stefan Castle and Wemby era. So I'm very excited to see where the channel goes. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a great day. Hopefully we get more Spurs videos out on the regular, but it's August. There's not a lot going on, so that's why we're doing the reaction videos. I haven't been able to watch the Giants preseason games yet, so I'll try to do something there for the Giants. But I'm very excited for the NFL season, and for those of you that are friends with me on the Twitter, please let me know if something happens huge that's detrimental to the Cowboys or the Eagles or the Commanders. Because while I am a New York Giants shorts content creator, I very much enjoy trolling the other teams in the NFC, so when I get a chance. So I'm getting long-winded. Thank you all. Hope you have a great day. And as always, go Spurs go.
To Wemby.